The man who's won trophies for his game face alone. That would be me, Sean David Morton. Welcome back. Alex Jones is a spy? What? All right, I get it. Alex Jones is not a very nice man. I get that. Unless somebody's, I don't go after anybody unless I think they're actively hurting somebody. And Alex Jones cancels speaking tour 3 days after exposure as possible Stratfor double agent. Now this comes from truthernews.worldpress.com, and let me give you a few things that back this up for those of you who are fans of the war and fear-mongering Alex Jones. On February 12, 2012, David Chase Taylor of Truther.org broke the story that Alex Jones was likely an intelligence tool for Stratfor, a private Zionist intelligence agency located in, of all places, Austin, Texas. Now, Texas and most of the South in the Southern Baptist fundamentalist Bible churches with the, again, Arab-hating, pro-Israel, warmongering, supposed, who would Jesus kill churches run by guys like John Hagee, also known as the Blob, raise all kinds of money for Israel. They believe that what's good for Israel is good for the United States, that Israel is the promised land, that all his prophecies have to do with Israel, and if we don't save Israel, then, Jesus isn't going to come back. And far more ridiculousness. So there's a huge base for Israeli intelligence all throughout the South that basically has its hooks, its claws, its money, actually gets all its money from people who believe, again, Israel do or die. Now, there's an original article here, but Stratfor admits to now being an intelligence gathering center, and therefore it stands to reason that Alex Jones and his affiliates of InfoWars and Prison Planet have likely been gathering intelligence and data and info on thousands of patriotic Americans since 1996. Now, coincidentally, the exact same year that Stratfor was founded in Austin, Texas. Quote, "You don't know who's good or bad until you get to the crisis points." Alex Jones said that October 14th. I don't know if that's my Alex Jones impression or that's my I need a laxative impression. But just 3 days after Taylor's original article entitled, "Is Alex Jones a Stratfor double agent?" was published, Alex Jones abruptly canceled his nationwide speaking tour without a reason, except that, quote, "The collapse is imminent. It's so imminent. The collapse of the country, the world, is imminent. It's imminent." Jones went on to attack the links between himself and Stratfor by stating that he started his radio broadcast in 1995 and that he was just completely self-made. Well, again, the people behind American Freedom Radio, specifically Danny Romero, who's the big daddy, the founder of this network, and Alex Jones turned on all those people. Now, on the February 15, 2012 edition of the Alex Jones Show, Jones stated that he will attend the first two scheduled speaking tour dates in Dallas, Texas on Sunday, and in Orlando, that's February 19th, and in Orlando, Florida on Sunday, February 26th, but that he will not be traveling and speaking throughout America as previously planned. So clearly Jones has been made as a traitorous spy and is running scared, but revelation of Jones's ties to Israeli intelligence should come as no surprise, since Alex Jones has not and will not reveal any time in his program, by the way, the true Zionist control of America. Now, for those of you who are sort of interested in this, there was a woman who actually has a website called seektress.info. That's, and again, not making this stuff up. That's SEEKTRESS.info. Alex Jones' attorney is a woman by the name of Elizabeth Shurek. And Elizabeth Shurek, who represents Alex Jones, just so happens to be the attorney for the Edgar Bronfman family. The Bronfmans, who own Seagram's, at one time owned most of Warner Brothers, and are single-handedly probably the greatest, how can we say, Zionist agent provocateurs, dual U.S.-Israeli citizens out there. And they're huge supporters, not only of Alex Jones, but, again, they share the same attorney. So Are you surprised that maybe all the people that go to Alex Jones' site or the people that get information from him wind up in the databases of the Mossad? Anyway. But Alex Jones has a film called Endgame, and it appears to be the cover for Operation Endgame, a 2003 to 2012 plan under implementation by the Office of Detention and Removal Operations of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Bureau of Immigration and Customs Enforcement to detain and deport all removable aliens and suspected terrorists, unquote, currently living in the United States by 2012. Now, based on following evidence and behavior in the history of Alex Jones, it's highly likely that he's, in fact, part of this operation. Now, the city of Austin is the capital of Texas and is the home of both Stratfor and Alex Jones. And the city also boasts all these other political intelligence operatives, namely Karl Rove, top Republican, I can't even say strategist because they're top Republican criminal, I guess you could say, Stephen Jackson, founder of the Illuminati card game, which by the way is in Austin, Texas, and yet is the bane of all Christian parents throughout the South. Jamu Green, who's the founder of Rock the Vote, which is a massively Democratic pro-Obama organization, and Silouane Bonewall, the founder of the League of Technical Voters. And Austin's located only 199 miles away from Lake Jackson, Texas, which is the home of U.S. Congressman and 2012 U.S. presidential candidate Ron Paul. So needless to say, Austin represents a majority of the Republican right-wing power structure in America. But a global intelligence company, Stratfor, also known as Strategic Forecasting, Inc., also known as Stratfor, was founded in 1996 in Austin, Texas, by George Friedman. And, of course, Alex Jones's career was also founded, well, actually in 95. It was late 95, 96, but it's close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. When he began his radio career with a public access television cable TV program on, I don't know, the Whorehouse Network somewhere, but was quickly promoted and hired on at KJFK in Austin, hosting a show entitled The Final Edition. But prior to Stratfor's aligned hacking incident on December 24th of 2011, the following data and information was present on the Stratfor website, and when compared, there is little doubt that Stratfor and Alex Jones, InfoWars, and Prison Planet are both one and the same. Stratfor's global team of intel professionals provides an audience of decision-making and sophisticated news consumers. This is from their website, by the way. This is Stratfor's website I'm quoting from. Quote, Stratfor's global team of intelligence professionals provides an audience of decision-makers and sophisticated news consumers in the U.S. and around the world with unique insights into political, economic, and military developments. The company uses human intelligence and other sources combined with powerful analysis based on geopolitics to produce, I'm sounding like Alex Jones now, to produce penetrating explanations of world events. The independent, non-ideological content enable users not only to better understand international events, but also to reduce risks and identify opportunities in every region of the globe. The company delivers content daily on its website in videos, emails, books, and an iPhone app. Oh, I guess I've got a vein popping in my head just talking like that. But the Stratfor website also delivers critical intelligence and perspective through situation reports or snapshots of global breaking news, daily reports that assist key world events and their significance, quarterly and annual forecasts, blah, blah, blah. So currently Stratfor's products are oriented around individual subscriptions, of which the premium product is the most comprehensive in content offered. Some of Stratfor's work remains available, some of it free to the public, but again, this is an Israeli intelligence operation, kids. And Stratfor has some products available to the public, including private briefings, corporate memberships, a publishing business that includes written and multimedia analysis, and an iPhone app. But Alex Jones and his team of, quote, reporters, unquote, writers and producers routinely schedule, host, and, quote, former and current intelligence officials such as Dr. Steve Pachenik of the DOD, Wayne Madsen of the NSA, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, Senior Fellow at the Center for Advanced Defense Studies, David McMichael, CIA, Ray McGovern, CIA, and James Wesley Rawls, Army Intelligence, just to name a few. Are these really the people that you want to be listening to? And all these intelligence operators, they provide Alex Jones listeners with their unique insights into political, economic, and military developments. And Alex Jones and InfoWars use live reporting, websites, podcasts, video streams, video, books, iPhone applications, and a host of other media to attempt to explain and make understood world events. So Alex Jones and InfoWars delivers critical intelligence and perspective thought through all these various things and through people in high places and all this. But clearly Alex Jones and his employer, Stratfor, have a lot of ulterior motives. For example, according to Stratfor, the company's publicity lists Fortune 500 companies and international government agencies, although their clients list is allegedly confidential. Like Stratfor, Alex Jones' public publicity list includes celebs like Charlie Sheen, Willie Nelson, Jesse Ventura, Joe Rogan, as well as a number of other elite individuals within the government, intelligence, Hollywood, the corporate world. And how and why is Alex Jones so deeply connected to the elite despite being a conspiracy theorist continues to be a mystery and really baffling unless he's indeed part of the intelligence network. Now, in the days before and on 9/11, Stratfor and Alex Jones were making predictions about what was going to happen and who would be allegedly responsible. And according to Wikipedia, Stratfor has a connection to the 9/11 attacks. Quote, at the time of the 9/11-2001 attacks, Stratfor made its breaking news paragraph, as well as some notable analysts predicting likely action to be taken by al-Qaeda and the Bush administration, available free to the public. And according to Alex Jones, he himself predicted 9/11 and the anthrax attacks that followed, and Jones' information and insight is also free to the public. So clearly there is some sort of an intelligence connection at play. And Stratfor, a clearly Zionist Mossad Israeli intelligence operation, obviously knew of the impending 9/11 attacks, which were carried out by the Israeli Mossad and the military-industrial complex and the Pentagon. And again, could terrorists have orchestrated the cover-up that came afterwards? Yeah, could Lee Harvey Oswald have shot Kennedy? But could he, after he was dead, then run around and kill virtually every witness to the crime? So Alex Jones's job has been to make 9/11 an inside job, thus putting the blame squarely on the American government and its people, quite possibly rather than the Israeli Mossad. But Jones's numerous and baseless terror predictions, such as impending bioterror attacks, are all likely coming from Stratfor and, again, the Mossad Intel network. But Stratfor was founded by Dr. George Friedman, again, a dual Israeli citizen and Zionist. And in an interview, Friedman was asked the following, quote, does being Jewish affect the way you view the world? And again, he says, quote, being Jewish keeps things in perspective, he says, smiling. We lost 2 temples. Alex Jones's repeated denials and lies in regards to Zionism clearly indicate that he might be a tool of these people. Aside from being married to an Israeli girl, Jones has purposely lied and deceived his audience about the real threat to America. And currently Jones, and again, his employer Stratfor, have all these ulterior motives when it comes to the 9/11 truth movement and the future of America, and exposing Alex Jones and his partners in crime is the first step towards getting a real and independent investigation into 9/11 and probably saving America from its rapid freefall. But Jones previously attempted to bait the American public into a full-blown riot on the eve of Y2K by repeatedly stating that the Russians had nuked the United States. And Jones's actions were to be repeated on February 6th of 2011 when a thermonuclear weapon was to be detonated at Super Bowl 45 in Dallas, Texas. And David Chase Taylor's free ebook, The Nuclear Bible, which was published 10 days prior on January 28th, 2011, in an attempt to stop the impending false flag nuclear attack, overwhelmingly direct and circumstantial evidence has now surfaced in the aftermath of the failed Super Bowl plot, which unequivocally shows that Taylor's actions did indeed stop, or at least postpone, a Zionist nuclear terror attack on America. Jones was set to blame the U.S. government in the aftermath of the attack in a calculated attempt to goad Americans into an armed response, despite the fact that Pakistan has been set up over the last 25 years as a scapegoat. So there you go. Now you know who your enemies really are. This is Sean David Morton fighting for truth, justice, and the American way on American Freedom Radio. It's Strange Universe Radio. Go take care.